Flosstube. My name is Becca and I'm SamBrie Stitches here on Flosstube and on Instagram. Welcome to another special edition of Interview with a Flosstuber. Today I'm here with Elizabeth. Her channel is Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch. It's a newer channel but has become very popular, and I know many of you requested that I reach out to her for an interview, so I'm so excited that she said yes. If you haven't checked out her channel, I'll put a link down below. She stitches a range of beautiful projects from smalls to bigger pieces. She also does finishing tutorials, which is pretty cool, and so cheerful in all of her videos, always smiling, which is kind of what we need right now. So I really enjoy your channel. So how are you doing today, Elizabeth?
I'm so good. Thank you for that intro. That was so nice.
Well, it's all true.
Thank you.
All right, well, let's jump into some questions to get going.
Okay.
The first one is, why did you start a Flosstube, and were there any particular motivations?
Yes. So I started because I was bored at home in quarantine. I feel like that's probably prompted a lot of people over the last few months to start a Flosstube.
I've seen a lot of new Flosstubers, yes.
And so we got the work from home order for my company in like mid-March, and I just live with my boyfriend. I don't have kids. You know, so every day was just the same. You know, I would stitch after work, and I would work all day, and you know, we'd cook, and it was just like the same thing over and over again. And I was watching tons of Flosstube just to like fill my time, and I was stitching tons because I didn't have a commute anymore and I could stitch on my lunch break.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly think my family group text was getting sick of like, look at this, look at this, look at this. And so, because I was making so many things and I was watching so much Flosstube, and I just thought, okay, I want to participate in this and, you know, have like an outlet. Honestly, I really didn't think anyone was going to watch it. I just thought, okay, there's going to be like 10 people that watch it who like care what I'm stitching on. And that's fine. Cause like, I just want, you know, I just want to talk about stitching. That's really what it was. I started my Instagram account, I guess, maybe like 3 or 4 months before, just to kind of join in with the Instagram community of, you know, cross stitch. And I just decided, you know what, I'm going to put up a Flosstube and I'm going to announce it to, you know, I think I had maybe 1,500, you know, followers on Instagram. I was like, I'm just going to tell them all, hey, I'm doing a Flosstube, and see who watches it. And it just kind of took off from there. The first one was kind of a slow climb, and then all of a sudden more every week we're watching, and it was so much fun to do. And so now it's just, I get addicted to it. I love to share like what I'm working on every week. It's just fun to talk about.
Yeah, your channel is pretty amazing, and it blew up because I think I went back and kind of watched the first couple of them, and it said 4 months ago from now, so still pretty new, and
I know
everybody is talking about your channel, so it's pretty, pretty neat. It is. So the second question is a subscriber question, and they were just wondering if you have a blog.
No, I don't. I used to when I bought my first house. I think, what did I call it? I called it something like Elizabeth doesn't know what she's doing, but she's doing it anyways, because I bought a house and I was renovating. I shouldn't say renovating. I wasn't like taking down walls and like, but I painted every single wall. I took off popcorn ceiling off every single ceiling, painted every piece of trim, you know, like I just like made it my own. And so I kind of through my little, I think it was like a Tumblr, you know, like stuff like that. But I've never had one specific for cross stitch. So just about when I bought my first house.
Love the title though.
Yeah.
Very intriguing.
Blog entries included things like, somebody hide my credit card and don't let me buy this purse because I'm also trying to buy a house. You know, it's like very silly things.
That is awesome. Is it still active? Like, is it still?
I think so I'll if it is, I'll send you the link, and
okay, yeah, I'll
look at what I did to my first house.
That's so cool. I'm sure people would like to check it out. You know, it sounds fun.
Yeah.
So the next question is, how did you learn to stitch, and how long have you been stitching?
So I mean, I'm mostly self-taught in terms of what I consider, I guess, like professional level stitching in terms of like the pretty samplers and things. And I've kind of taught myself over the last like 4 or 5 years. But I really started crafting as a little kid with my grandma and my mom. And so I know I used to do the little plastic canvas kits, and they taught me, you know, how to use a needle and thread, how to hand sew, how to use a sewing machine, you know, just like all those different things. So I guess that's kind of where I started, but I really did, I think, kind of teach myself just through buying kits and things and practicing.
Very cool. Very cool. So the next one is, what is your favorite project or projects that you've stitched?
I know, I couldn't pick just one, so I did bring two with me. So probably my very recent favorite is one that everyone has seen, and it's my stocking.
I loved that one.
Oh, yeah, I am obsessed still. I force everyone in my life to look at it and tell me how pretty it is.
Well, it's a huge I can't even talk accomplishment. So
it was so much stitching. Like, these are the real deal in terms of the amount of stitching. Yeah, and I'm not a full coverage person normally. And obviously there is some, you know, blank space in here, but this is like the most full coverage I've done, and it's a lot of work, but it was so much fun. The little details in it are what kill me, like this little sewing machine and even the quilted wall hanging.
I love that.
Yeah, and I love how popular these are. You know, they've been popular since the late 80s when they were published. And even just earlier this week, I saw Lisa Kindred Stitcher with, like, she had like 7 or 8 of them, right? And I get all kinds of comments anytime I show these stockings in my video from people who are like, oh, I stitched those in the 90s, or I stitched those a few years ago. You know, it's so fun. So
and they're timeless too. Definitely timeless. Yeah.
I mean, they do, the colors are a little 90s, which I love. I'm a 90s girl. But yeah, I just love the design, just like the intricacy of it. Yeah, it's timeless.
Love it.
And so then I brought one more. I cheated because I love this one. I hope there's not too bad of a glare on this.
Nope, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
So this is a Brenda Gervais, and oh gosh, what is it? I think it's called Blossom, or the Flower Blossoms. And it says, the flower doesn't dream of the bee, it blossoms and the bee comes. And I just love this. This is one of the first pieces I got professionally framed because I was so pleased with how it turned out.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, it just features, I love, like, I'm like a red and pink kind of person. So these colors.
You can't go wrong with a lot of her color choices in all of her patterns. They're
oh my gosh, beautiful. I know. Yeah, so that's my other fave.
You're not alone. Many people have showed more than one. That's why I added the S on the end of it. Everybody loves to see the finished products anyway. So
yeah.
So what do you enjoy most about stitching?
I don't even know. I was trying to think about how to answer this. I love all of it. I think my favorite part is kitting up, you know, like, I have all kinds of floss on my wall. I have my fabric in a bin, and I have my charts, and then, like, you know, pulling everything together, whether it's the called for, if I'm substituting. I love laying things out, making a project bag, and, you know, lining up my flosses. So, like, just the whole process of it, I love. And then I'm the kind of person who, like, I've crafted all my life. And so I never would just, like, sit in front of the TV and watch something. I would be knitting or crocheting or stitching or embroidery, you know, just something. And so cross stitch for me, I love that it's so portable, and that I can do it wherever. I love the orderly little X's and in the rows that make a pattern. I just love everything about it.
I think I'm a whole process type of person too. The kitting up, not so much my favorite, but I love the finishing, like the fully finishing. And I know you're really good at fully finishing too. So
I love that. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to get out of stitching a little bit.
Okay.
And we're going to go into, what's your favorite genre of book or movie?
So I would say I have two kind of favorites depending on my mood. So one is going to be like a whodunit. Like, I like a good murder mystery, like an Agatha Christie, or, you know, or like in the movie Knives Out that kind of came, I think it's last year, you know, some kind of like whodunit thriller type. And then also like a good rom-com. So that could be in book form, like chick lit.
Yes.
Just any kind of, you know, love story I'm here for. So
this time of year is always good for those too, on like the Hallmark Channel with the Christmas love story movies.
Yes. The downtrodden baker whose dad's going out of business. I don't know.
Yep. Yep. It's always kind of like this similar storyline, but different towns kind of thing.
Yes. There's an amazing one I've watched a couple of times about a girl who visits, oh gosh, it's like a B&B, and it's run by like a ghost from the 1800s. It's amazing. I can't even, Ghost of Christmas Past. There's, yeah, it's great. So look that one up.
Yeah, that sounds kind of cool. Definitely will try and look that up. So what fictional place would you most like to go?
So I had a hard time with this one, and this is going to be so cliche, but I think Downton Abbey. I think that's what I said.
I binge watched that recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I watched it from the start. I loved it, and I watched the movie last year when it came out. I love Downton Abbey. And so I've never been to England, to Highclere Castle, but I actually went to Scotland several years ago for a friend's wedding and visited Inverary Castle, which was used as Donegal, if you remember that from the show. So like, I think it was like the family friend, or I don't know. Anyway, so I visited Inverary Castle while I was in Scotland, and that was used on the show. So that was fun.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. I totally binge watch that. That's one of my favorites now.
Yeah, just like the costumes. Do you watch The Crown? Sorry, I know this isn't just a conversation about TV.
Actually, that's on my next one. I'm rewatching Supernatural because it just ended. So like The Crown is the same way for me. It's like the costumes and the locations and just the like grandeur. I'm gonna have to watch that. Yeah, I've seen it because it keeps popping up on the recommended. So
yes,
that'll be my next one, I think. So if you could choose to do anything for a day, what would it be?
Okay, I got really specific with this one because I was thinking about it and I was like, well, I don't have kids, so if I don't have to work, I can kind of do whatever I want, right? So rather than just like, stitch all day, which is what I would do with a day off.
That's all of our dream days right there.
I know. I was like, I'm going to turn it up. And so because we can't travel and I'm like stuck at home thinking of things, I was like, my dream day right now would be like one of those little like islands where they have the little huts with a private pool, like your room, like the $80,000 a night Oprah suite type thing. Mm-hmm. And I was like, and I'd have like my own little pool with like the cushy loungers, and I could swim and I could get out and stitch and have my cocktail and then get back in the pool. That's all I want is swimming and stitching.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Relaxation, quiet, just secluded, have our stitching.
Exactly. I'm like, just leave me alone with a pool and my stitching.
And it would be free.
Oh yeah.
Everything. Yeah. That's ideal. That sounds awesome. So I know we touched on this a little bit, but we can go into it a little bit further. Do you have any other hobbies besides cross stitch?
Yeah. I am the hobby queen, I think. I've got this whole room in my house with every, awesome. It's like a Michael's in here. So I have always sewn since I was a little kid. So curtains, quilts, blankets, clothes, all kinds of things. That was kind of what I guess my gateway craft was. And so then I got really, really into quilting in my 20s because I worked at Hancock Fabrics. And so quilting has been with me forever. I went through periods of being obsessed with knitting and crochet and painting. I did oil painting classes. I don't know. I've tried anything you can make, anything you can buy supplies for at Michael's. Like, I've done it.
I used to work at Michael's, so I totally get it.
Yeah, I worked at Hancock Fabrics for like 3 years in college, and I just gave them my paycheck back.
Yeah, it's like, here you go, thank you.
Which, by the way, I'm very sad that Hancock Fabrics does not exist anymore. Now all we have is Hobby Lobby and Joann's, I guess.
Yeah, because we have Pacific Fabrics here, and a lot of them have gone out of business. So all I have is Joann's and Hobby Lobby 45 minutes from me. But yeah, it's pretty sad.
I know. I hate that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I know you show a lot of your quilting and stuff in your videos too, which is really nice. I know a lot of Flosstubers are like multi-craftual and they show different things. So that kind of makes it more interesting. So. So this is one of my favorites, and it is, how would your friends describe you?
So I think they would describe me as talkative and friendly, and generous. Like I am very like I'm a people pleaser and a giving type. Like that's just my personality. And so I'm always down to chit chat and talk and try to make somebody laugh and cheer someone up. And, you know, I'm sure you cannot tell. I'm not like that.
I was gonna say, in your videos, you always have a smile on your face and you're always like giggling or something throughout it. So, you know, definitely cheerful and upbeat. And yeah, it comes through in your videos for sure. So very, very good. So back into stitching a little bit, and it's, how do you prefer to stitch? Do you use like a hoop, a Q-snap, a frame, that kind of stuff?
So I always stitch in hand. I tried Q-snaps when I first got heavily back into stitching a few years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, but I didn't like the whole, like holding it. Like I just felt really awkward to me. And so I moved from the Q-snap to the poke and pull in hand. Okay. And then I taught myself the sewing method. So once I learned the sewing method, that's just how I like to stitch. I'm really fast at it, I feel like. So
you get a lot done. So I think so.
And it is thanks to the sewing method. Like that's how I'm able to stitch fast, because I feel like just.
And so do you have a preferred fabric?
Yeah, so I like 36 count hand-dyed linen. That's my weakness. Okay. That's my go-to. I Picture This Plus, Lakeside, R&R. I'm such a sucker for those lovely linens. So, and 36 count is my favorite. I love 40, but I'm faster on 36 count. So
you don't find, because I know a couple of other interviews that I've done, they've brought up like stitching in hand with linen, they don't have the greatest tension, I guess. Do you find that an issue with linen at all? I'm only Ada, so I
I guess, I think it's just whatever you get used to stitching on. I've only really ever stitched on linen, and I've done Monaco, like the 28 count Monaco, because I realized I could get it at like Michael's and Hobby Lobby. And so a few years ago, I was using that a lot, but I do prefer the one strand. So that's why I kind of moved up to 36 count. And I don't even know if they make an even weave, like a Lugana or a something else. And I need to look into that. But no, on the linen, I just find I have a certain way, I pull my stitches, like a certain direction, depending on how I'm making the stitch. And that's how I try to control my tension. I definitely think in a hoop, my stitches would probably be neater and tidier. Like I think I asked for tips on white stitches before, because I definitely feel like my white stitches aren't as nice, which I think a lot of people feel the same way.
Oh yeah.
But no, I don't know. I just try to pull my stitches really evenly. Like, so it's just with, I've gotten used to it.
Yeah, I guess over time, they would get used to it. I think it was just trying it once, pulling it too tight and saying, nope, that's what they were.
I have heard that a lot of people pull extra tight when they stitch in hand. So yeah. I'm not sure. Maybe I've just relaxed my grip a little bit. I know when I knit, I pull too tight when I knit. So I tend to go up needle sizes so I don't pull everything. But
nice. Yeah. I like the Q snaps, I think, but I got a lap stamp, so now I can two-hand stitch, because holding it and doing it is time-consuming. So now I get a lot done.
Yes, so. I watched Misty Luminous Fiber Arts did a video on that two-hand stitching. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like, if like that probably really would be like the neatest way to do, like the cleanest, tidiest stitches. But
oh yeah, probably. Yeah, I like to do like the one strand on 18 count, but I'm thinking about going and trying in hand again. My hand used to cramp up, but everybody says that, you get so much done faster and everything. So I might try it. We'll see.
If you need any tips, email me.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I will definitely reach out to you. So where is your favorite place that you've traveled, and did you bring stitching along when you went?
So I think my favorite vacation was in Hawaii. I went with my mom and my sisters. Gosh, it was probably 6 or 7 years ago now. So it was a while ago. And we went at Christmas time because it was cheap. And it was
Christmas time.
It really, crazy. It was like, it wasn't on Christmas, but it was like, a couple of weeks before Christmas. Yeah. And so Mele Kalikimaka was just like on a loop, which you'd think would get old. It doesn't. Not in Paradise.
Very catchy.
And so and we didn't plan anything. We booked the trip so last minute because we found such a cheap deal that we just went and had such a good time. I didn't bring cross stitch, but I did bring knitting. I was really heavy into knitting at the time, and so I did bring a knitting project to knit by the pool, which knitting by the pool in Hawaii, I was the only one.
Keeps you busy.
Yeah.
My stitching has to go with me everywhere. I wish I want to try and learn to knit. I've tried before, but I'm left-handed, so I get confused, and I'd have to find like a left-handed tutorial or something. Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, maybe someday. But yeah, definitely taking crafts with you everywhere, no matter.
Oh yeah, nowadays, if I went back to Hawaii, I would take cross stitch with me instead of knitting. But yeah,
definitely. So what can you not do without for your stitching? Like your favorite go-to must-have besides the basics?
Yeah, so the really only like must-have is a super bright light. I don't use magnification, but I need like super intense direct light on my stitching, especially for 36 and 40 count. I just, so I have one of those big floor stand gooseneck things that I just drag around with me and set down next to
whatever works. Stuff.
Yeah.
I even have like the portable light that's sitting here with me, was gifted to me, and you can unplug it and it holds a charge. And I actually take that if I go to get my oil changed or something like that and the lighting's not great. I whip that out, set it up. But yeah, portable lighting for sure. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a fun one. It's how do you decide on what you're going to work on next?
I don't know. I really don't. I see the squirrels, and I run after them. So I sometimes set deadlines for myself. So like with the stockings, I knew that I wanted to have both of Rob and I's stockings finished for this Christmas. And so I finished mine in April of this year and started his immediately and was like, okay, it has to be done by the end of October. So sometimes, I'll set a deadline for things and then I'll know like, okay, this week I have to get 6 hours in on it every week. And so at some point I know I'm going to stitch on that. But otherwise, I don't have like a rotation or anything. I just, whatever is calling to me at the moment is what I'm going to pick up. And so I always have way too many projects going on. It has increased since I started Flosstube.
I was going to say, don't we all? Mine has increased too.
I know. I think I started Flosstube with maybe 14 whips, and I think I have like 34 now.
I think I'm right there with you. I think I'm in the 30s too for whips, but that's a pretty common answer. I don't think from the people that I've interviewed, I don't think there's very many that have like a schedule or a certain way. It's just like whatever calls to them or whatever's closest that they can reach at the time that they don't want to get up, that kind of thing. So I'm
exactly.
Although when it gets close to like the holiday or the season, I start going like super crazy on certain things to get them done. But
yeah, same. Ever since like we got past Halloween, I've just been, all I want to do is Christmas. That's all I want to, I just need festivity. So I miss my samplers and things, but I'll get to them in January.
That's what I was just thinking. So I've been going like super crazy stitching all these gingerbread because I wanted a gingerbread display, and I am gingerbread out, but I still have another piece to finish. And I'm sitting there thinking I miss my samplers because I just got into samplers and I love them and they're all sitting there, but I'm like, I don't have time.
I know. I'm like, I look at them and I did that Blackbird Whip Parade in my most recent video.
Yeah,
and I was pulling out all those samplers and I was like, oh, I want to stitch these. I'm like, okay, after Christmas, January is just going to be sampler September all over again because I have to go back to these. But
I'll have to come up with a hashtag. I'll join you.
I'm like,
we'll
just do samplerary.
We'll have to figure out something. I'll join you in the January January sampler month. Yes, because I really want to get back to them and get them finished for sure.
Yeah, me too.
All right, we are on to the last question.
Okay.
And this is my most favorite. I say it in every interview. But it's, what's the best thing that has happened to you so far this year?
So by far, the best thing this year has been starting my Flosstube. I was just like a passive participant in Flosstube for like 3 years. I think I discovered a Priscilla and Chelsea video while I was searching for something 3 years ago. It was at their start, and I was like, what? They're talking about cross stitch on YouTube? I was like, this is a thing? And I discovered Flosstube, and I have been watching it for years now. And this year I decided I'm going to become a part of this party. And, you know, and that has definitely been the best thing. I love so much just the community of people and sharing projects and seeing what people are working on and sharing ideas, like just getting ideas from I don't know. That's been the best thing this year by far.
And I know a few people have answered with that. And,
oh, cool.
You know, I say that our community is amazing. And not only does it help us making the videos, you know, the Flosstube videos, we have somebody to share our work with that appreciates it. And,
yeah,
you know, we become friends, and some of mine I consider family because we've gotten so close over the year that I've done it. But it also helps the people that are watching. Especially, you've probably noticed this since you started during the lockdown, is a lot more people were watching Flosstube because they were home by themselves, and the comments that they leave about, you know, thanking us Flosstubers for making these videos so that they feel less alone.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a two-way street, really,
for sure.
For doing these videos. But yeah,
for everyone who comments how much they appreciate that I put out videos, like I am so appreciative that you want to sit there and listen to me talk about stitching, because nobody else in my life wants to listen to me for 45 minutes.
That's exactly exactly what I'm thinking when I like read through the comments. So just having a Flosstube channel has just been amazing. So it's totally
just so great to find people who love the same thing you love in the same kind of ways and get obsessive about floss and colors and linen and patterns and it's so much fun.
There is something I think about stitching, because, you know, a lot of people have a whole bunch of different hobbies, but stitching they get drawn to and sucked in. And it's just, we just have an amazing community that we could share it with. So it's just pretty awesome. So that's an awesome answer. I'm glad that you started a Flosstube channel, and I'm sure many people are.
Thank you.
So
it's been so fun. So fun.
Yeah, it is a blast. So well, it's getting super dark behind me, but luckily I stayed on camera.
Yes.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to do this interview. Like I said, many people have asked, and so they're going to be so excited when they see that this is coming up. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you for inviting me. I was so thrilled when I got your email. So I was like,
I love doing this series. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
All right, we'll say bye to everybody on Flosstube.
Okay. Bye, everyone.